Listening to Real Estate Roundup. Real Estate Roundup with Realtor Nagaraj Annaiah every Sunday from 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. PST on Volley 92.3 FM.
Hello, Bay Area. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. I am your host, Nagaraj Annaiah, your Bay Area Realtor. Today, we are diving into a topic that's on everyone's minds: job losses, the economy, and what it all means for the Bay Area housing market. We'll be discussing the latest trends, potential impacts, and what you need to know whether you're buying, selling, or just curious about the market. Today, I'm joined by Albert, and we are going to talk all about the job losses. Hi, Albert, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. Listeners, if you have any questions, you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038, and you are one of the person got impacted by recent job losses and you don't know where to get started, because Albert runs in a Facebook group of a 49,000 people, and where he posts a lot about the jobs and other stuffs. And if you have any and you're the one of them got impacted and you don't know where to do, like what to do, you can give us a call. And if you have any questions on the real estate also, right, you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. Albert, can you give a little intro about you, like, and what you run?
Yeah, so my name's Albert, as you mentioned, and I run a company here called Albert's List, and our Facebook group is called Albert's Job Listings and Referrals, San Francisco Bay Area. And so I've been running this group for about 11 years now, and it really started at the heels of the last Great Recession we had, which was around from about 2007 to about 2010.
Mhm.
And so our job search community brings together recruiters, job seekers, hiring managers, career coaches, and it's a weekly conversation about the state of the job market, people asking for advice, and people introducing themselves, in addition to some job postings that we also make on a regular basis. And
Okay.
what Albert's List is in the business of doing is hosting events, multi-week boot camps where we teach people how to conduct their job search and how to make the most of all the resources that are out there so that they can stand out amongst other candidates when they go for a particular position.
Okay. Listeners, if you have any questions, and you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. And this is the only show where we talk all about aspects connected to real estate. Today, we wanted to talk about the job losses, and if somebody has got impacted by the job losses, how do they overcome on that, right?
Hmm.
Let's talk about the economic perspective, right? Like, see, there are two things I want to talk about. One is the housing market perspective, where I can brief from, like I was telling you before the show also, like I'm noticing in the Cupertino homes, 300 square footage getting sold for 1.7 million.
Yep.
Even the burnt homes are selling for a 1.3 million in a Berryessa. That doesn't resonate or doesn't basically go with economic perspective. People are getting scared. How is the economy? What do you think about the economy?
Yeah, so one thing that I was sort of sharing with you beforehand as well was just who we're seeing in our Alberts List programs that we've been running for the last half year or so since the beginning of the year. And one of the things that we've noticed is that, prior to the downturn that we're noticing this year, a lot of the folks who used to join our programs, our multi-week boot camp programs,
Mhm.
tended to be your very general and administrative marketing operations type professionals. Over the last couple of months, we've seen a drastic shift in that now include people like product managers, software engineers, VP of marketing, your data scientists. And these tended to be professionals that prior to these last couple of years had their pick of the jobs. And so that's a big red flag to me in terms of where the economy is headed. And it is my belief that we should all be very concerned for what comes next.
Yeah, listeners, you're listening to Real Estate Show from Nagaraj Annaiah. I'm talking to Albert. I'm talking about all about the economy and the job loss, and you're one of them who got impacted by the job loss, right? Like, how do you go about it? And if you have any questions, you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. And I think you put it very well. I think you are not only seeing you're seeing a lot of white collars getting impacted, correct? And
Hmm.
one thing it comes into is like, if you got impacted by the job loss, what do you do next, right? Let me talk about the real estate perspective. If they're owning the house, correct? If they're owning the house, see, like recently, one of my client in Livermore got impacted by the job loss.
Hmm.
It's been 3 months, and I think they can't. Yeah, it's been 3 months. He could not find a job. Now he needs to go back to India. Okay, so what is he doing is like he's renting out the property in the Livermore. Okay,
Yeah, turning your liability into an asset is really a great move in any economy, in my opinion, whether it's good or whether we have what we're going on right now.
see, I think so. That is why since a lot of them impacted by the job loss also, right? The house they're renting it out. That is why that houses are not coming for us here.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. I think that especially in California, where this is a very unique case, we continue to have a housing shortage, which means that rent continues to go up, and thereby also the cost of housing also continues to rise. And I think one of the things that we also wanted to mention too, right, was how with with jobs and with housing, the two things that are really interconnected between the two are also interest rates.
Yeah, I think
Um,
let's talk about the interest rates, right? See,
yep,
I'm
let's do
noting
that.
the interest rates. Listeners, you're listening to Real Estate Show from Nagaraj Annaiah, and I'm talking to Albert on the economic perspective and the Facebook group what he runs. And if you're interested to know more about it, and you got impacted by the job loss recently, and you're worried about your job, also correct. This is the show you need to call us out, and our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. So, Albert, let's go take a step back, right? About the before even getting into a, that if you're one of the engineers or if you're one of the persons who's working on the current job role, right? You know ahead, like 6 months ahead or 1 year ahead, what kind of
Mhm.
a job I'm working in. Can it be for the longer term I'll be working in? So that's where they need to pick up as an individuals also, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, if you can
That's
see the
called skill
writing,
sets.
skill sets, right? So if you can see the writing on the wall ahead of time, it certainly behooves you to make that decision to start looking for that new job immediately. And so for me, and in terms of looking at what that actually looks like, it's starting to network, going to professional associations where you can make yourself known, building your brand on LinkedIn, skilling up, which is, a really big thing these days, especially with artificial intelligence. Dusting off that resume. And also for those who might have been working in one place for a really long time and haven't done it in a while, practicing your interviewing, because those are all things that are going to be in your near future if you decide that you are going to go for that new job, or if you've even been laid off today. And those are incredibly important skills in what's really become a very, very unstable job market overall.
Yeah, I think one more thing is why the economy, if even the job losses are happening in also, right? Why it is not showing up immediately, right? Because it takes
Hmm.
always time to catch up. It takes some time because a lot of them, for example, you are one of the Tesla employees got impacted. The
Yeah.
stocks, whatever they got it from the last few years, it is worth of more than 2 million to a 3 million.
Yeah, I mean, so one thing that we're coming to the end of here is during the pandemic, we had a lot of people receive stimulus checks, and those savings are starting to run out, I think.
Mhm.
And so that's been something that's been keeping the economy afloat. I think the other thing that's been keeping the economy afloat, and you're very attuned to this, is that the vast majority of homes that are currently being occupied right now have 30-year mortgage rates that are well below, I think, even 3.5% and 4%. And so that really keeps a lot of people buoyed because housing is still relatively affordable if you're buying a loan that goes that far out. And then I think the other thing that continues to keep the job market, or really keep the economy hot and keep the housing market in the Bay Area very irregular in terms of what we would expect nationwide, is the fact that many of these homes that are currently being bought today are being bought by individuals who are at companies that are soaring really, really high right now.
Yeah.
We've seen a recovery from Facebook and Salesforce over the last couple of years. Nvidia, as we know, is riding high and hot because of of their investment into artificial
Even the
intelligence,
Google, look at the Google
and
stocks.
Google as well. Yeah, no, they're all
There's a
soaring.
job losses at one
Hmm.
point, and even the stocks. Look at the stocks.
Yeah. And so because all of these companies have promised AI in some form or fashion, their stocks have soared. And employees know that they can take advantage of this by instead of putting down, hard cash for from their own bank accounts, they can just they can just take their RSUs and they can buy their homes and they can buy for, 200 to 500 grand above asking. And that completely blitzes the housing market in ways that that really mimics what was going on when interest rates were really low and the market was really good in that 2020 to 2021 timeframe.
Yeah, listeners, you're listening to Real Estate Show from Nagaraj Annaiah. I'm talking to Albert on the economic perspective today. So, if you have any questions and you would like to share, and you're one of the job loss impacted, give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. And if you have any questions on the real estate, also, right, you can give us a call, and you can give us a call and tell me also how is the show coming out. If you think you want to share about the show also, give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. As Albert mentioned in the beginning, right, networking is very important in this kind of an economy. So, if you would like to know more about what Albert is running, and if you would like to know about his a Facebook group and how do you want how you can join, you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. And it doesn't mean like if you already called to us, no need to call. You can give us a call anytime. So let's talk about Facebook group, what you're running in. And it's a great thing what you have done until now in the Facebook group. You can share more about that, Albert.
Yeah, so this Facebook group was founded March 5th of 2013.
Mhm.
At that point, we had no members. And today, on May 19th, 2024, we have about 49,600 members.
Wow.
With the vast majority of them located in the Bay Area. We did open to a more remote audience during the pandemic. And
Okay.
so in that group, we have job listings every day. We have people who ask for advice, introductions, referral requests, and it's an ongoing conversation. And we also have memes, right? So we try to also keep it a little bit light because the job search can be a little bit crazy these days with AI and applicant
Yeah.
tracking systems and so forth. And so it's an opportunity to join in conversation with people who are going through what you're going through, especially if you're a job seeker, because it can be very frustrating in the sense that you're looking at the job market right now, and it seems like we're really at this a point of struggle with companies continuing to lay off, right? Tesla being the latest to
Yeah.
cut almost 10% of their entire workforce, with a lot of those impacted right here in the Bay Area in the East Bay at that Tesla plant in Fremont. And
And I
so,
think, Albert, it's a well said what you said, right?
mhm,
10%. Are we seeing
10%.
10% homes coming up in the Bay Area? No, it's still not coming up the 10% because it's a train which is running slowly and it takes some time to catch up. People needs to run out of the money and they need to list it for the sale. So it is kind
Yeah.
of, it takes some time.
Yeah, and maybe a lot of those people who are working at those Tesla offices in Fremont can't even afford the homes in the first place because I mean I've seen some of those pay rates and they're generally in the 20 to $40 range, which, gets you maybe an apartment that you have to share with people, but it generally cannot buy you a house in Fremont. That I do know.
Yeah, I think Fremonts are so
Yeah.
expensive nowadays. And since you're talking about a Fremont, I have a listing in a Fremont, 38308 Redwood Terrace, and I have an open house from 1:30 to 3. And if you would like to join, you can give us a call after this show. I'll be heading out to a Fremont. And if you would like to come and meet me, come and meet at 38308 Redwood Terrace, 1:30 to 3. Okay, it's a two-bed, two-bath. It's a wonderful starter home if somebody wants to get started with a kind of a townhouse. So I think this is very important to know now, right? Like, see, there is one thing that is like economy is going so bad, but which we are not noticing for everybody.
Mhm.
Correct. So in this market, what is hot in the job market nowadays?
Yeah, so like taking a look at the latest labor report, it's evident that there are still some areas that remain hot. And one of the ways that I tell people to look at this in terms of pattern recognition is to look at the industries that are closest to the government and what the government impacts the most in
That's
terms
very
of
well said.
policy
I
and
think.
investment. Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah. Let's talk about it, listeners. You're listening to a real estate show from Nagaraj Annaiah. I'm talking to Albert, and if you have any questions, you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. So let's talk about the government jobs, Albert.
Yeah, so government jobs remain interesting. So I use the word interesting because for those of you who do follow the news, we know that the California state government and Governor Gavin Newsom the other day announced that they were cutting 10,000 open roles. That said, there are a lot of open roles that still remain on the county and city level, and recent jobs reports from the Bureau of Labor Statistics do state that government jobs are increasing and openings are increasing. So I still think that there's definitely a lot of work to be done over there. I know that I'm hosting a career fair on Friday, June the 7th, I believe, in
Hmm.
Berkeley. And, some of the organizations that we have attending include the San Francisco Labor and Workforce Commission, Alameda County. And so they'll be there talking to individuals who may have been laid off and are looking to transition from tech to perhaps something more stable in the government sector.
Okay, that's good to know. So if somebody wants to join, how can they join about it? Like in this job fair?
Yeah, so they can go to Albert's Job Listings and Referrals on Facebook and they can go and click on the events tab and they'll find the event there. Or they can go to our Eventbrite page under Albert's Job Listings and Referrals and they can see a whole host of events that we have, everything from mock interviews to our upcoming job fairs. To upcoming featured webinars that include learning how to do LinkedIn or even discovering how to build your next side hustle.
I think that's very good to know about that. Let's talk about the side hustle, right? I think which we were
Hmm.
discussing before this show also the side hustles, which is very, very important, right? Like
Yeah.
what are the side hustles? We can talk about it, Albert.
Yeah, so a side hustle is basically something that somebody does outside of their day job that helps them build extra cash flow, which is really important, especially as inflation remains stubborn. And so, what I really want to address here is that the internet has truly democratized our ability to work from anywhere, anytime, in any way that we want. That we do anything. So, like, Albert's List for the work that I do, most of our events are online.
Mhm.
You can take a Zoom call from tropical Hawaii if you wanted to learn about LinkedIn, or to learn about your side hustle. And we do a variety of side hustles that programs that we're teaching our job seekers. So in the next coming couple of months, we have a side hustle where you'll learn how to do Amazon e-commerce selling from a woman
Mhm.
who has made 100 grand per month on her business. We
100?
have side hustles on how to build your own reseller business using eBay from somebody who actually works at eBay. And so all of these are opportunities to not only optimize your income, but also build something that you yourself can own as a business owner and something that you can have full control of, right? Because one of the things that we hear about a lot in the job market and really in the world is that if you depend on somebody else to gain your paycheck, you have that risk. But if you bet on yourself, it's the surest bet you can make because you have
Yeah.
control over your efforts and your capabilities and your outcomes.
Yeah, listeners, you're listening to Real Estate Show. I'm your host Nagaraj Annaiah, Bay Area Realtor. I'm talking to Albert on the all the economy and the job perspective and the job losses. If you're one of the persons got impacted and we would like to know more about it, you can give us a call. Our studio line numbers are 408-912-5038. One thing, Albert, on the interest rate, right? Interest
Mhm.
rates are going up, correct? But you are not noticing the change in the housing market.
Mhm.
Is this one of the stuff for the even for the job losses?
Yeah, so interest rates are very much tied with jobs and job losses because it really corresponds to the cost of capital. So companies, when they need to start a particular project, especially in the public market these days, are often borrowing money to make that happen. And so during zero interest rates periods, like what we've seen during the mid-Obama years and also 2021 to 2022, what we noticed is that you had a lot of companies start what we call moonshot projects. And moonshot projects are everything from Google X to Amazon Alexa to things like reality labs at Facebook where they're talking about artificial reality and virtual reality. And these are things that have a very, I would say, a little opportunity to make money in the near term, but they have potential to make a ton of money in the long term. And so because, money in the corporate game is very, very short-sighted, when interest rates started climbing and the Federal Reserve started raising them to fight inflation, these companies started laying off because the cost of that borrowed money became way too much for them. And so instead of trying to hope for the market to sort itself out and perhaps for inflation to drop and make interest rates drop, these companies instead laid people off. And that's what you were seeing a lot of in the maybe first 15 months of where we've been now, starting from 2022. You saw a lot of people get laid off from, Amazon's shopping experience. You saw that Google let a lot of people out from their Google Voice and Google X areas, and they went back to their true bread and butter areas, which
Yeah,
include Google Search or Facebook and
I, I
its
think you
ads
said
unit and so forth.
I
Yeah.
think you said very well. I think especially the AI train is running so fast.
Yeah.
It's running so fast. Okay. So my job market is also changing.
hmm Yeah. And so, it's I think the thing that we think about a lot here is that we wonder when this entire roller coaster of job cuts will end. And truly, I would say that it's going to end when interest rates start dropping, and we feel like, from at least our corporate leaders, that the risk is going to be reduced significantly. And inflation remains stubborn, 3.4%, according to the report last Wednesday, on Wednesday last week. And so, the markets did share that, as you saw. Did the Dow hit 40,000 for the very first time? And so there is hope that maybe by the time we hit the end of the summer, that we
Yeah.
get to a point of that. It's really difficult to say because the Fed has obsessed itself with a 2% interest rate, even though there's really no proof one way or another that there's going to be an actual change there. But until it gets to that 2% rate, or we get the notorious Fed put, I think we're going to stay at this very, very uncertain area where those who don't have a job wonder where their next job will come from. Those who have a job are wondering if they're going to lose it. And those who have homes in particular are wondering whether they can hang on. And it's a very precarious and anxiety-inducing situation right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think listeners, you're listening to a real estate show from Nagaraj Annaiah. I'm talking to Albert on the job losses and economy and everything. And if you got impacted by the job loss, what are the things you can get started immediately? Because instead of waiting for a job, getting your full-term job,
hmm
I think Albert, most of the listeners, right, they are kind of if they are one of the H1B, correct? H1B case, they need to be leaving the country within a 45 days or something.
Yeah.
The rule. So in that case, I think I discussed with Ashim also previously, like they can find a business visa, but the business visa also doesn't allow. So in this group, whatever the group you run, you see a lot of H1Bs also.
We do see our fair share of H-1Bs and people who are on visas. And I do encourage them to talk to somebody like Ashima to let her know about their situation and their options. And the thing when it comes to losing your job is that you really need to put that oxygen mask on you. And so, if you lose your job, announce it on LinkedIn. Reach out to all of your professional contacts and let them know what happened and ask them to be on the lookout for you, because there's nothing worse than suffering alone and not know hoping that somebody will help you but not putting it out there, right? So
True.
from that perspective, you need to be very, very promotional. And then number two is to really just get all the things that you need together so that you can move quickly. So that's updating your resume, updating your LinkedIn, practicing your job interviews, because all of those things are going to be in your near-term future, and you need to be as good as you possibly can because the margin for error is really, really, really small, especially given the level of competitiveness on the job market today.
Yeah. And I think, see, one thing is a lot of people make a mistake is when the jobs are going good, they don't find out a side hustles, or they
Hmm.
don't find to build a different career for themselves. Correct.
Yeah.
I think that
Hmm.
is very, very important. Have the additional career, so that way if something happens, you have the other set of income coming in for you. I think we talked about one is renting out your current house.
Hmm.
Are you starting something else, a different business?
Yeah, you can DoorDash, you could, drive for Uber or Lyft on your free time. You could actually, even if you wanted to, look at your retirement accounts and maybe even transition into something like dividend producing stocks. All
Yeah.
things that bring that additional extra cash flow so that you can build on top. And of course, one thing that a lot of financial advisors also recommend is to, if you go into a job search, to have at least 6 months to a year of savings already accrued so you can cover your expenses. And so, being very aware of that as well is very important to surviving this very uncertain time.
Yeah, listeners, I'm myself Nagaraj Annaiah, the Bay Area realtor. Today I was talking to Albert on everything on the economy perspective and the job losses. And if you would like to connect with me, you can always connect me on the real estate related at the nagarajhomes.com. Click on the WhatsApp icon, and it's easy to connect. And if you would like to join to Albert Facebook group, I'll be uploading all this video on my YouTube channel, and I'll give out the link also there. Do basically on my Nagaraj Annaiah's YouTube channel. I'll give out the link also. Please do join for that Facebook group and get benefited on the job related if you want to find. So, Albert, if you can, what's the name of the Facebook group? If you can give it out, it would be beneficial.
Yep, Albert's Job Listings and Referrals, San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, and he has a lot of career fairs also. Do basically join for that. And thank you so much for listening in today. And do watch out for and do come for the open house today at 38308 Redwood Terrace in Fremont. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
When